Hello and welcome to another edition of Jazz Improv with Mr. P-Fan. On today's lesson, we will be discussing jazz 7th chords. There are many types of 7th chords that exist in jazz. Of them, the 5 most common are listed right here. Major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, half diminished, also known as minor 7 flat 5, and diminished 7th chords. This lesson is divided into different instrument groups. Please take a moment to locate your instrument so that you know which group number you should follow along with. Let's start by playing a concert B-flat major scale all together. Find your group and let's play it in half notes going up and down. 1, 2, set, go. Now let's take a look at each different type of 7th chord. We'll start with the major 7th chords. A major 7th chord is the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th note of any major scale. For example, in group 1, a B-flat major 7th chord is made up of B-flat, D, F, and A. There are many different symbols that you might see on a jazz lead sheet to represent different chords. Where I listed X can represent any note. It can be C, it can be G flat, it can be A. For major 7th chords, you would see X major 7 or B flat major 7. Sometimes it's written with the whole word major, sometimes it just says MA, sometimes it says MAJ, and sometimes you'll even see it with a triangle and a 7 next to it. All of those symbols indicate that the harmony is supposed to be played is a major 7th chord. Let's try the major 7th arpeggios by playing each of the white notes in your group. We'll go up and down in half notes. 1, 2, ready, go. Here's a major 7th chord all together. The next type of 7th chord is called a dominant 7th chord. Dominant 7th chords are found in almost every single piece of jazz music. The dominant 7th is the same as a major 7th chord, except the 7th is flatted. So the formula is 1, 3, 5, and flat 7. The symbol that you'll see on a lead sheet is X7, so it will say B flat 7 or C7 or G7, depending on which note it is. Let's play a dominant 7th chord. Again, you will play in half notes up and down all of the white notes in your group. Group 3, watch out for this note right here. In the major scale, you had an F sharp, but because the 7th is lowered in this scale, it will become an F natural. Here we go, let's play it. 1, 2, ready, go. Here's a dominant 7th chord. The next chord that we'll take a look at is the minor 7th chord. A minor 7th chord has a formula of 1, flat 3, 5, and flatted 7th. The symbols that you'll see to represent a minor 7th chord are MIN7, M7, or a dash 7. I prefer the dash 7. Let's try a minor 7th chord. Look at the white notes again. 1, 2, ready, go. Here's a minor 7th chord. The next chord that we'll discuss is the half diminished 7th chord. This one's also known as a minor 7 flat 5 chord. There are a number of symbols that represent this when you see it in your music. X minor 7 flat 5, XM7 flat 5, X dash 7 flat 5, which is my preferred way to write it, or X with a circle and a line through it and a 7. The line through the circle means half diminished. For this one, there's a couple funky notes to watch out for. Groups 1, 4, and 5. Be careful, the 5th is lowered in this one. So the formula for half diminished is 1, flat 3, flat 5, and flat 7. When you play the 5th note, be careful. F flat is really E natural. C flat is really B natural. So just to help you with this, on the next slide, I just changed it so it's a little bit easier for you to play and read. So we'll have E natural here, B natural here, and E natural here. Okay, find your group and get ready to play in half notes. Get set. 1, 2, ready, go. As a chord altogether, here's a half diminished. The last chord that I'll be discussing with you in this segment is the diminished 7th chord. This is a fully diminished 7th chord. The symbols that represent it are X dim 7 or X circle 7. The circle means fully diminished. This chord's formula is 1, flat 3, flat 5, and double flatted 7th. As I circled in purple, this one presents issues for many of the notes and many of the groups. So what I did on the next slide was to show you that for this chord, the 7th is doubly flatted, which means it goes down 2 half steps. And really what that does is it turns it into the 6th note of the major scale. So in the next slide, you'll see the A double flat is really just the note G. The B double flat is really just the note A. The F flat is really an E. E double flat is really a D natural. And A double flat again is really a G natural. So for this chord, I often will think of the formula as being 1, flat 3, flat 5, and 6, natural 6th, is really the same as a double flatted 7th. So let's try the white notes on this one. Find your group number. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. And here's the chord all together. Now let's practice. Now that we have these 5 main types of 7th chords, the way I like to practice them is in this order, starting with a major 7th chord and going down. If we think in the key of C major, all naturals, no sharps or flats, and we give everybody a number, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's a chart that lists all of these chords, all of the symbols, what they look like in your music, the formula you can use based on the major scale, and then the chord spellings just in C. So I will show you how I practice these. First, I'll play each chord all together as I'm playing on the piano. Then I'll also practice them as arpeggios. Then I'll do the same thing in a different key. I can do it in F. And you can take this same idea and transfer it to every single key that you know. Happy practicing!